All right. Only a minute late this time. That's doing pretty good for me. It's only a minute. Doing pretty good. Russian. I was in Nick's room beforehand. We were talking some stuff about writing and conventions. It was fun. Legends. How's it going? The man of the hour. We're going to be reading his short story today, and it is, y'all are in for a treat. Like, I read this one. I read the first part of it, and I was like, oh, damn it, this is good. And then I got to the end of it, where we're going to end tonight. And I am so happy that I get to pass this feeling on to you that it left me with. I am so happy I get to share this, because then it's not just me. It's not just me. Kim, how's it going? Ellis, hello. Amanda, hello. Thank you for the heart. Hello, hello. Hello. Thank you all for stopping by. This one's good. You guys are in for a treat. As long as I don't butcher it, then it's good. What are we reading tonight, Kim? So if you type in !book, it'll tell you very little about it. And it's strategic that way. So our very own Legends Reforged. Look at that. That is a I need to get one of those. That look pretty good. Yeah. Thank you, Legends. So this one's going to be now Legends. If you type in !author, it'll tell you a little bit about it. He might know a thing or two about the law, right? The legal system, and this is going to be that. But a lot less dry than that sounds. That is a terrible explanation of what it is. It's kind of, I would say, like legal thriller, kind of. But you'll see by the end. You'll see by the end what we're working with. But it's very much about a defense attorney and some stuff that goes on. So, holy poop. Holy poop. It filtered you because it didn't like that. But I unfiltered it. Because F you, TT. I mean, love you, TT. TT shop. We all like it, even though I don't have one. Stopping by. We're staying by. I love that. I love that. Don't just stop by. Stay by. Stay a while and listen. We love TT. That's right. Right? And then hopefully we don't get the soft bans for copyrighted material. I'm like, I have permission. I have permission. I mean copyrighted. I have permission. Oh, wait. Y'all have the American TT now, right? Yes, we do. And our overlords have graced us with the ability to still be on here. So we should be thankful. Or something. I don't know. Just wait for me to get filtered for nothing. All the time, Kim. It does not like you at all. It's really, hi, how's it going? And it gets filtered out. Like, what are you, what? That was not offensive in any way, shape, or form. Hello. Hello. It's almost like, it's like a reunion of Whiskey Wednesday alumni in here right now. Like, it's so fantastic to see all of you. New achievement. You've been filtered for no reason. New achievement. Yeah, exactly. That's what somebody should do. They should write a lit RPG for us that is about the achievements you get as a TikTok streamer. Jessica, hello. I got my goal of 1 recording in today. Congratulations. It is better than 0. It is better than 0. New achievement. Oh, man. I love that for us. Yeah, exactly. Jamie, hello. Hello, hello. Good to see you too. Oh, there's our filter. There's our filter. Who was it? Oh, it was Ellis. Okay. It's targeting you tonight. Oh, and I can't even unfilter that one. Oh, I can't even unfilter it. Okay, but I will read it instead. Who I wrote about the second coming. Oh, no. coming of Jesus, and he was being gaslit by social networks. I love this. I love this. Send me the link to that. That sounds hilarious. Because that's what would happen, right? Be like, canceled. This guy said he turned water into wine. What is he doing? My fingers are broken. People loved it. I bet. Oh, that sounds funny as hell. That sounds so cool. It's on your Substack. Oh, okay. Okay. I think am I subscribed to your Substack? I don't even know. Probably, because I'm the M. Mahiris. I'm subscribed to as well, because that's your buddy. I think I'm subscribed to both of you on there. Have I stopped in and read any of those in a long time? Hell no. I haven't had time, but I can't tap because I'm cooking dinner, but I'll be here listening. I promise. What you cooking? What you cooking? I made a turkey, sounds weird, turkey zucchini spaghetti tonight. And the zucchini was not the noodles, traditional noodles. The zucchini was in the mix with the turkey and the seasonings. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. The trick is you put in a little bit of sour cream and cream cheese, and you just mix it. It just, add cheese. It's great. I had to send me your narrations. Nailed it. He's got some really fun writing, too. I think what would be really cool is if all of the short stories that I've narrated for him for his Substack, if he were to put those... Thank you for the heart. If he were to put those together in like a compilation, like a short story, like anthology or something, that would kill, because of the different like stories that he has in there, and they're so good. Like, I love the premise of them, which is what kind of drew me to it, and his ability to kind of like hit you with that like ending real quick. And then the last one that I did for him was like, whoa, okay, that's awesome. Wait, there's whiskey. There is whiskey right at the very end. Because as it turns out, whiskey isn't very good for narration, so we're going to do it at the end. So I'll show you what that is. It's a mystery whiskey tonight. He wrote like 32 chapters on the random prompt on Substack. That's awesome. That's a writer, right? Getting in there and doing the thing. Another writer that's a writer for the writers and the readers is Legends Reforged. He's here in the chat there. So if you have any questions as we're reading through, we have the man, the non-myth and the legend here, because he's real, he's not a myth. This one's called Burden of Proof. And then, like I said, after we get done reading this, it's in 3 parts. So I'm going to pause kind of at each part for just a little bit, enough to switch over. So when I'm pausing, that's why, because I kind of have it. I didn't combine it into one document because I ran out of time. But just think of his chapters. Yeah, there you go. Let's hear the story. Yes, let's. Anything you want us to know about the story before we begin there, Legends? He's reading my new book now. He's your critique partner. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. Shared with more than 10 friends. Thanks for all the shares, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, I think we're good to go. This is just for a competition within your writing group. Has it already been, like, done? Or is it, like, it's not done yet? Because you said you weren't done with it yet. Yeah. Okay. Answered my own question. I think it's a pretty damn good start. So, you definitely have a chance of winning. That's for sure. That's for sure. November 1st is the deadline. Okay, so yeah, you got a little bit of time. It's pretty darn good. Let's get into it. Shall we? We shall. All right. Test. Test. Okay, cool. We're good. That's not blocking anything, right? Cute. Okay. Burden of proof. After 4 days of trial on drug trafficking charges and not a guilty verdict. I don't like any of that. Let me start that over. Thank you for the share. Appreciate it. Proof. After 4 days of trial on drug trafficking charges and not a guilty verdict, Marcus Hale was back at his desk by 5. There was always something next. There was not a guilty verdict. I know, right? Whiskey Wednesday, Strongest Guys. Hello, thank you for the share. Appreciate you. Wow. 5. There was always something next. He and his paralegal, Deb, were still working through the backlog when the phone rang. He was usually at his desk when the walls of justice started closing in on someone. Tyrese Burrows, a former client, called with a referral. It was a man holed up in a hotel in North Olmsted, 4 days after his ex-girlfriend turned up dead. Marcus told Burrows to keep the guy there and make him stay off the phone. Marcus grabbed his coat. It was 7:45 on a Tuesday night. Deb met him at his office door, legal pad out. Going to get Gil? Yeah, North Olmsted. He took the pad without breaking stride. The notes were spare and to the point. Terrace Gill, homicide. Karen Doyle, victim. Date of death, November 20th, 1998. No currently known associates, no prior addresses for both. Burrows said he talked to the police 2 days ago. She was already back at her desk, rolling her eyes. I think that's him saying that, actually. Burrows said he talked to the police 2 days ago. She was... No, yeah, that's right. I think I interpreted that right. Or is that part of the notes? Days ago. She was already back at her desk, rolling her eyes. And now he's calling you? Since he's an idiot, should I go ahead and add the donkey tax to his billing? Marcus laughed. Maybe next time. The donkey tax, what clients paid when they were Since he's... I'll do that again. I didn't really like it. Calling you? Since he's an idiot, should I go ahead and add the donkey tax to his billing? Marcus laughed. Maybe next time. The donkey tax, what clients paid when they talked to the police without a lawyer, making everything worse. You know, I wasn't joking. Deb had been trying to convince him to actually include a surcharge for talking. That's a word. Deb had been trying to convince him to actually include a surcharge for talking to the cops for years. It was funnier than it should have been. The idea of losing her wasn't. He'd been losing people his whole life. His best friend's father got railroaded when they were kids, bad defense, and the wrong outcome. The friendship didn't survive it, and neither did... Oh yeah, got it, okay. The friendship didn't survive it, and neither did the friend. Marcus went the other direction. Every relationship ended the same way. Marcus alone. His work had always come first. It wasn't ambition, it wasn't ego, it was justice. Deb had put up with him longer than anyone outside his parents. 3 months ago, she'd gotten engaged to an accountant named Kevin, a man with a 9-to-5 and nowhere to be at 7:45 on a Tuesday. Kevin was her future, and he wasn't. Marcus would do whatever it took to keep her. More money, better hours. He hadn't figured out the better hours part yet. She crossed her desk and grabbed a fax. You aren't going to like this. He grabbed his briefcase and turned toward her. Sean Rowan is assigned to Gil's case. Sean Rowan, lead homicide detective, Cleveland PD. Rowan built his cases piece by piece and didn't stop until they were completely solid. In 20 years, Marcus had beaten him exactly twice. Both times, Marcus stood in front of a jury and made them see the facts differently. It was the only way you beat Rowan. She flipped through her Rolodex. "Give me 5 minutes. One of the night clerks at the course..." Oh my God. Do it again. Do it again. She flipped through her Rolodex. "Give me 5 minutes. One of the night clerks at the courthouse owes me a favor." "You've canceled dinner twice in the last week." Kevin was probably ironing his shirt right now, thinking she's already on her way. She reached for the phone. "It's fine. Kevin will understand." He watched her and recognized it. The notepad already open, the favor already being called in. She was him, 20 years ago, and that was something he'd not wish on anyone. He poured a cup of coffee he didn't need and stood at the window while she worked. Below, the November slush banked against the curbs on the street. 4 minutes later, she was back across his desk, rattling off facts before he turned from the window. "Karen Doyle, 34, single, worked for your building's cleaning company. Different location, same outfit, about a year." Her voice changed. Beaten to death with a fireplace poker." Something in that caught. Not the brutality. That was unfortunately normal. An old case brushed the edge of his memory. "Does that remind you of anything?" She didn't answer right away. "No. Should it?" "I don't think so." He set it aside. "What else?" "Drug. Prior." "What else?" "Prior drug possession, 2 charges, nothing in the last 3 years." 3 years with no charges made it look like she'd been clean, or at least trying hard. She might have snitched on someone or owed someone money. He'd ask Gil if she was still using. "The daughter. And found her." Deb lowered her voice. "She came home from a sleepover." He closed his eyes for a moment. Fuck. 12 years old coming home to that. This girl would be a witness. The state would make sure of it. A 12-year-old girl testifying was just information. Statements made under shock. Memory that had bent under pressure. He'd take her back through each and every detail of what she'd seen, find the pieces where the story fell apart, and keep going. He'd done it before. The moment she became a kid on the stand instead of evidence, he'd quit. He had to keep out the humanity. The standard doesn't... Try that again. Humanity. The standard didn't soften for sympathy. Not for anyone. That was the job. He pulled a cigarette from his coat pocket and lit it. "What about Gil?" "Terrence Gill, 41. Construction, 5 years, same company. Owns his home, no wife, no kids. Domestic violence history, but 6 years ago. Completed probation, clean. Minor drug charges before that, nothing else." The domestic violence past gave the state a bad guy. And once a jury had a bad guy, the facts stopped mattering on their own. Gil's history didn't belong in front of a jury. The state didn't get to use a man's worst moment to fill the gaps in its own case. Marcus would make sure of it. "Courthouse opens at 8. Deb sat down at her desk. "I'll have the full record by 9. Courthouse opens at 8. Deb sat down at her desk. "I'll have the full record by 9. "Put your coat on." She stopped writing. "I'm the boss. I looked it up." She started to say something. He picked up her coat from the rack and held it out. "You told Kevin 8:30. You can still make it." They rode the elevator down without talking. He watched the floor numbers drop. Marcus Hale, attorney at law, had cost him everything. He wasn't going to let it cost her, too. As he crossed the quiet lobby toward the front doors, Thank you for the heart. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. Hello, hello. Ew. Ew. As he crossed the quiet lobby toward the front doors, a woman on the overnight cleaning crew was moving her cleaning cart along the far wall. She glanced up when she heard him. Young, dark-haired, a small gold pendant at her throat. He lifted his briefcase in a small salute. Gotta keep my... Gotta keep my guy out of jail. She stopped her cart. Even if he's guilty? The question wasn't casual. Guilt or innocence is not my job. He walked toward the doors. My job is to make sure the system works the same for everyone, or it doesn't work for anyone. She smiled and held his gaze. That's what lawyers always say. Usually, it's true. Maybe. She pushed her car forward. Good luck tonight, Mr. Hale. He walked through the door and into the cold. Room 212. Marcus knocked once. Gil opened it before the sound faded. He must have been waiting by the door. Broad-shouldered, decent clothes, freshly shaved. He'd made an effort to look composed. The sleeplessness had undone most of it. Marcus Hale. Gil took his hand. It was sweaty and slightly shaking. Oh, wait, this is Marcus Hale. Marcus Hale. Gil shook his hand. It was sweaty and slightly shaking. Can I come in? Gil moved to the side. Marcus took the desk chair. Gil followed and sat on the edge of the bed, leaning forward, both hands on his knees, wound tight. Guilty men usually came in trying to manage the room. Gil looked like he'd barely managed to get through the next 5 minutes. Marcus opened his notepad. How'd you end up with my name? Burroughs called me out of nowhere. Said he heard I was in trouble, knew a good attorney. Said to sit tight and wait for you. How'd Burroughs know you needed a lawyer? Gil slightly lifted his hands off his lap, a slight shake of the head. I don't know, man. Word travels. People knew about Karen and me. When did you learn about Karen? Gil's jaw worked for a second. The police called me 2 days ago. Asked questions. I answered them. Damn it. Burroughs was right. Tell me exactly what they asked and what you said. Gil looked at the floor. As my tummy rumbles. Gil looked at the floor. They asked about our relationship, when I'd last seen her, whether we'd argued. He paused. I told them we'd broken up, that I'd been over there a few days before to try to work things out, that she didn't want to talk. Then I left. Rejected lover who couldn't let go. The state's favorite motive. Did you tell them about the argument? I told them we'd had words, that it got loud. He looked at the floor. That the neighbor probably heard it. What were you fighting about? She said she'd moved on. I didn't believe her, said some things I shouldn't have. Calling her a bitch was the last thing she heard from me. And a witness. Did they ask if you'd been back after that? Gil shifted on the bed. Yeah, I told them no. Hopefully his DNA wasn't on that poker. Did they ask where you were the night she died? Gil's jaw tightened. Yeah, I told them I was home. Alone? He nodded once. No alibi. Just a man alone in his house the night his ex-girlfriend was murdered. Maybe Deb was right. There should be a fee when people were dumb enough to talk to the police. The state didn't need to build a case. Gil built it for them. How long were you there, and what time did you leave? Gil looked at his watch. 5, maybe 10 minutes. It was around 9:45. And when you left, she was alive? He had asked the same question 1,000 times. The answer was always yes. What mattered wasn't the answer. He'd learned to stop listening to the words years ago. It was the silence before them that told him what he was working with, and whether he was building a defense or managing a disaster. Yes. Gil's voice dropped on the word, lost its edge. She was fine. She was standing right there. She closed the door, and I left. That's it. No hesitation. And the way his voice had gone quiet, like the fight had run out of him, remembering that moment. Marcus had heard guilty men answer that question. They pushed through it. Gil had gone the other direction. Guilty clients usually wanted Marcus to believe them. Innocent ones wanted him to understand them. Did you see anyone when you left? Gil looked down like he was trying to remember, not managing his answer. I was upset. I wasn't looking at people. There was a woman leaving when I got there, maybe a friend of Karen's, and an old lady out her apartment door when I left. I'm sure the old lady heard us arguing. Do you know the woman or the neighbor? If either heard... Do you know the woman or the neighbor? If either heard just noise and not words, no big deal. Couples fought all the time. It usually didn't end in murder. Not sure. It was her friend, and I never... Not... Murder. Not sure. It was her friend, and I never met the neighbor. Anyone else? Gil shook his head slowly. No, nobody else. That's all I remember. The exhaustion sat in every word. Yeah, let's make him more exhausted. No. Slowly. No, nobody else. That's all I remember. The exhaustion sat in every word. Did you have a key to Karen's apartment? Moisture edged the corner of his eyes. No. She changed the locks right after we split. Either he was thinking if... No. Yes. No, she changed the locks right after we split. Either he was thinking if they never fought, he could have stopped this, or the guilt of killing her was washing over him. The woman you saw when you arrived. Walk me through that again. Gil thought about it. I got off the elevator, and she was already at the far end of the hall, heading toward the other exit. Brown hair. I only saw her from behind. She didn't look at me. Did she come from Karen's door? I don't know, maybe. I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking about what I was going to say. He needed to find her before the police did. Have you met any of her friends that match the woman you saw? He needed to find her before the... He needed to find her before the police did. Have you met any of her friends that match the woman you saw? No, not anyone I've met, but she had a lot of friends. She started hanging out with someone from work recently. I never met her. He looked up from his notes. Karen worked at a cleaning company, right? He'd track her down. She might... Right? He'd track her down. She might be able to give a different picture of their relationship. Let's get some background on your relationship. How long were you two together? The man's hands hadn't moved from his knees. His eyes were steady but damp. A man sitting inside something terrible with nowhere to put it. 3 years. He stopped for a second, his hands coming together. Do you know how Steph is? Marcus didn't. He hadn't thought to ask. A 12-year-old girl who came home to that, and his first thought had been witness. He was glad Gil had asked. I don't know. I'll find out. Gil nodded. Nope, this is him still. Was Karen still using? Gil's eyes moved before his mouth did. No, she'd been clean for a while. He was lying. Marcus could work with that. A man protecting a dead woman's reputation wasn't the same as a man with something to hide. Some lies were armor, not evidence. But if Gil testified, they'd need to get ahead of it. What were the cops... No, this is him. Ahead of it. Yep. Ahead of it. What were the cops saying happened? They didn't tell me everything. She was killed with some kind of metal thing, like a fireplace poker. I don't even have one of those. Marcus stopped writing. Fireplace poker. Something tugged at him again. A hearth. A tool set with the missing piece. A family picture on the mantel. He would talk to Deb about it in the morning. Did you have contact with anyone that night? Calls, visitors, anything? No. I just went home. Couldn't sleep. What did you do after that? Gone to work the next 2 days. Didn't know nothing was wrong until the police called. Then Burroughs got in touch, and I came here. He shook his head. I didn't know what else to do. I just hoped they'd find Karen's kill... He stopped, swallowed, started again. Find the guy who hurt Karen before they arrested me. He couldn't say killer. Gil didn't find the Say killer. Gil... Tummy rumble. Stop, damn it. Say killer. Gil didn't fill the silence or look away. Marcus had represented men who cried harder than widowers who went home afterward to bleach blood out of their trunk. Grief proved nothing. But there was something about a man who couldn't finish a word. That was harder to fake than tears. Marcus closed his notepad. When we get to the station, your only job is to be the most boring person in Cleveland. No talking, no explaining, just a name and a signature. Then what happens? Then we wait. You'll be in jail until this is over, but we'll try to work on that. In about a week, there will be a preliminary hearing. The state must show enough to justify the charges. We'll get into the specifics after that. Gil's face came apart somewhere in the middle of that explanation. The slow collapse of a man trying to hold it together and finally out of ways to do it. We'll talk about the rest once the handcuffs are off, and we can talk privately in the jail. Gil didn't move as Marcus gave him a moment to process the information. Right now, the only step is walking in the front door. Right now, the only step is walking in the front door, not being hauled in Not being hauled in from the back of a cruiser. Right now, the only step is walking in the front door, not being hauled in from the back of a cruiser. Jail. He'd said it out loud. Gil? Glenn. Inventing names now. Out loud. Gil hadn't flinched. Either he'd been living with the possibility for 2 days, or something else was going on. I'm going to do everything I can. You ready? All right, here we go, the very last section. The drive back from North Olmsted was quiet. Marcus glanced over at Gil once. The man looked afraid and nervous, staring out the window at whatever was waiting on the other side of the next hour. When Marcus pulled into the lot and cut the engine, the client sat for a moment without moving. His client finally spoke. You believe me, right? Marcus looked at him. That's not how this works. My job is to make them prove what they think they know. Gil nodded slowly, accepting what was in front of him. Okay. The police headquarters on Ontario Street occupied a full city block, 9 stories of concrete and granite. It was called the Justice Center, which Marcus had always taken as an opportunistic reading of the situation. His office was his first home. He had spent enough time in this building to make a reasonable argument for a second. As Gil looked up at the building in front of him, the color drained from his face. Out front, the Noguchi sculpture the city had named Portal rose from the concrete. Most Clevelanders called it justice going down the drain. They pushed through the wind and went inside. Inside, the heat hit first, followed by the smell of burnt coffee mixed with body odor and industrial cleaner, the accumulated stench of 20 years of Cleveland's criminal justice system. A radio crackled. System. A radio crackled somewhere behind the front desk, a dispatcher's voice cutting through flat and even. Unit 42, Prospect and East 13th, no warrants for the driver. A phone rang twice and stopped. Down a corridor to the left, a heavy door opened and shut, latch catching with a sound like a bolt thrown. A uniformed officer behind the desk looked up. Marcus had never seen him before. 1,500 officers on the payroll would do that. Attorney Marcus Hale, I'm here to surrender a client on an outstanding warrant. The officer glanced at his client, then back. All right, have a seat. I'll let them know. He reached for the phone. They moved from the chairs. Two. Thank you, Nick. For the phone. They moved to the chairs along the wall. Gil sat with his hands between his knees, staring at the floor. Marcus stayed on his feet. He checked his watch. 10:22. Head up, Marcus said quietly. You're not guilty of anything yet. The man straightened up in his chair. The door behind the desk opened. Detective Rowan and his younger partner walked toward Marcus and Gil. Rowan's eyes focused on him, not his client. Mr. Hale. Not unfriendly, but not the usual courtesy either. Detective. Marcus lifted his chin toward his client. Terrence Gill, here on the Doyle warrant. Rowan glanced at his partner. The younger one gave a small shake of his head while reaching for his cuffs. We appreciate you coming in. Rowan took a half step to the side, eyes on Marcus. But I'm going to need you to step over here with us. The warrant's for my client. Things have changed. The older detective kept his focus on Marcus. We have a new warrant. The radio crackled. A phone rang somewhere. A cell door slammed shut. Marcus Hale, Rowan said, you're under arrest for the homicide of Karen Doyle. Nothing moved. Not in Marcus, not in the long, flat second that followed. Damn it. Nothing moved. Not in Marcus, not in the long, flat second that followed. Then cold moved through his chest. The understanding came heavy and absolute. That's wrong, he said. Level, not loud. You've made a mistake. The partner reached for Marcus's wrist. Turn around. Marcus did. He had told clients 1,000 times, the moment of arrest is not the moment for argument. Take your own advice. The cuffs closed, cold metal and a click that sounded different from behind his back. For 1 second, everything stopped. Not a client's problem. His. He had never once considered what it felt like. His mind raced in every direction. For a few moments, he couldn't find the next move. That hadn't happened in 20 years. Then his mind cleared. They have nothing. Behind him, Gil was on his feet, his face gone slack. What the hell? This isn't... Don't. Marcus's voice was steady. Not one word. Do you understand me? Gil closed his mouth. 20 minutes ago, he thought he was the one walking into jail. As they walked him toward the back, he thought of... As they walked him toward the back, he thought through this disaster. The warrant had his name on it. He'd never met Karen Doyle or been to her apartment. He didn't know either existed until today. He looked for a thread, a place where the police's logic put him here. There was nothing. The heavy door opened. The latch caught behind him as he passed through. Marcus had been inside booking rooms 100 times. Rowan handed him off to the booking officer without a word and walked through the door down the hall. Usually, He stood on the other side of the counter, legal pad in hand, wearing the expression of deliberate annoyance he'd spent years perfecting. The expression told officers he understood the process, expected them to follow it, and would note every unnecessary delay. Now he stood where his clients stood. The intake officer ran through the questions with the bored efficiency of The intake officer ran through the questions with bored efficiency of someone who'd stopped hearing answers years ago. Name, address, date of birth, social security number. He didn't know this officer. To this man, Marcus Hale had never existed. Once you cleared the booking desk, you were inventory. After the booking officer was done with him, he cuffed him to a bench, damn it. He cuffed. After the booking officer was done with him, he cuffed him to a bench facing the front desk. Gil finished speaking to an officer and walked out the front door. He'd brought Gil in. Deb had confirmed the warrant, and he'd driven out to North Olmsted himself and brought his client here. Just like that, the man who had dated Karen Doyle, argued with her, and been at her door that night, went about his life while Marcus was chained to a bench. Thank you for the follow there, Sky. I appreciate you. I love that noise. Yippee! Went about his life while Marcus was chained to a bench. Well, let me redo that too. I don't really like my inflection on it. Just like that. And brought his client here. Just like that, the man who had dated Karen Doyle, argued with her, and been at her door that night, went about his life while Marcus was chained to a bench. Whatever they thought they had on him, it wasn't enough. He'd be out by tomorrow. He almost laughed. It would be the longest he'd been out of the office in 5 years. Rowan returned through the interior door. The detective looked at him and didn't say anything for a moment. Just a steady assessment he had watched work on defendants and juries for 2 decades. He'd always respected Rowan's patience. It looked different from a bench and cuffs. Marcus, let's go talk this through. His first name, the tone. His first name, the tone of a man who thought this was still a conversation. Nothing in their history should have given him that impression. The interview room was smaller than he remembered. Gray table, 3 chairs, faint stain on the ceiling tile above the door. He sat and forced himself to focus. He kept his hands flat on the table and stared at a point on the wall behind Rowan's head. He'd spent years cross-examining homicide detectives on exactly these reads. What the hands did, where the eyes went, what the body said when the mouth stayed quiet. He wasn't giving the cops a story. Rowan took the chair across from him. The younger detective stayed near the door. One sympathetic, one silent, both waiting for the accused to fill the silence. He knew this play. I am invoking... That's a new word. This play. I am invoking my right to counsel. I will not answer questions. While it was a tactic, the irony was he didn't know anything. Rowan's expression didn't change. You sure you want to do that? Come on, Sean. You know exactly what I want to do. I am invoking my right to counsel. I will not answer questions. Tell me there's something missing. Nope, something I'm missing. Tell me there's something I'm missing. The detective didn't sound angry. He sounded like a man hoping he was wrong. You walked a murder suspect into our lobby. Rowan crossed his arms. Give me something here, Marcus. I am invoking my right to counsel. I will not answer questions. How many more times do I have to tell you? I'm not talking. Rowan opened the folder he brought with him. Marcus glanced at the photograph inside, then back to the older cop. A fireplace poker and an evidence bag. Rowan turned the photograph toward him. "We recovered the murder weapon." Marcus looked at it. Looking away would have looked worse. In that room, even a glance could be read as intent. Black iron, narrow shaft, curved hook near the handle, blood along the lower half, wooden handle with a chip near the base. Something landed. There was a murder case about 10 years ago. He represented a guy who used the same weapon. Grayson or Garrison, maybe. "I am invoking my right to counsel. I will not answer questions." He would have to talk to Deb about that case as soon as he got released. "We got the preliminary DNA result back." Rowan's face went grim. Marcus knew better than to react. "Your DNA is on the weapon." What the fuck? The edge of his vision drew in. The stain on the ceiling tile and the blinking camera disappeared. Nothing moved. Sound went flat. His heartbeat pounded behind his eyes. Rowan's eyes focused in on him. DNA on the murder weapon didn't need an argument. It didn't need a motive. It didn't need a witness. It just sat there and made 12 people stop asking questions. His throat tightened as the walls of justice closed in on him. "I am not talking." "We've got a search warrant for your office. Phones, computers, client intake records." He wanted to believe there was nothing for them to find. But how the hell was his DNA on the weapon? Rowan stood. "When your lawyer gets here, we'll talk you through what's next." The younger detective opened the door to the interview room. Rowan followed him out without looking back. Oh, it's hot in here. And that's it. That's all you'll get this evening. That's all there is. That's all you get. All right, who saw that coming? Not me. I didn't see it coming. Masterclass, sir. Masterclass. Beautiful. Rude! I need the rest. I know. I think the sad part is there isn't any more. He hasn't written it yet. So it's like I'm not even really being that mean. There is nothing else. I will say, though, I love it. That I got to experience that with you all over again and share the same feelings that I had the first time I read it through. I read it, got to the end, and went, "You bastard. That's it? Really? You're going to leave me there? I got so many questions." I got so many questions. You are welcome, Legends Reforged. Of course, I love your writing, sir. I love reading your stories. This is fantastic. And it's one of those, like, this is like a story that is, it's in the realm of the legal, the justice system. And I'm like, I'm going to read this and it's probably going to be, I don't know, accurate. Won't have to be like, is that really how that happens? Like, that's not the process. "Dave, come on," says Am. I know. Ooh, Second Whiskey Wednesday when he writes more. It's written, mostly. All right. Are you going to kind of leave it right there, or are you going to expand it more? You gonna cliffhang people like that? That's dirty and brutal, and I love it if so. That could be like to me, it very much read like, oh, here's the beginning of a novel, like chapter 1, chapter 2, here we go into 3, and then you do that dirty, nut punch right at the very end, which was masterfully done, by the way. I tried to get it done for today. Oh, okay. It's about the midpoint. Okay, so there is a little bit more. Okay. Okay. I love it so far. Yeah, and we can do a second one whenever you actually finish it too. We can if your contest is going to be around November. I know we were talking about too a little bit on that first email chain about maybe getting some like more narrators together and like doing a thing. I've been thinking about that, and maybe we could set something up like a special like event Whiskey Wednesday type of thing, where I just grab a crap ton of narrator buddies and be like, hey, we got some stories to read. You mind reading for a Whiskey Wednesday? We'll bring drinks. We'll make it a thing. You know, we'll all share our whiskeys or beverages or whatever we're doing, but we'll just read a crap ton of stories for a couple of hours. I think that sounds like fun. Or maybe across a couple days. I don't know, depending on how many people are in this group or whatever. I think that'd be kind of fun. Whenever it's done, I can't wait to hear it read it. Absolutely, I know. Questions need answers. Write faster. I know, Nick. I know. That would be awesome. I know. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Like, we'll just split it up and we'll get some narrators in here and reading some stuff. Pull in some thank you. Pull in some narrators and do some reading stuff. It'd be a lot of fun. All right, so whiskey. So, I'm pulling out a special bottle. Had this one for a little bit. It is called Stellum Bourbon, and it is a cask-strength blend of straight bourbon whiskeys. It's all fancy schmancy. It's one of their black labels. So I've never had it, but I've heard it is amazing. So there are 10 stories in the anthology for winners. Oh, that's cool. Marcus Hale would like that. Looks fancy. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Lawyer, a little bit fancy. You know, I didn't have the budget to go get the Macallum. You know, what is it? Macallum 20. The Macallum 20. That's like 10 grand or something. Don't get me wrong. I like Macallum, but I almost got some of that just because it reminds me of Suits. Channeling my inner older Harvey. I had a little thing about it. Here it is. Okay, so they say aromas explode out of the glass in waves and really never stop in their intensity. First out of the glass is flowery vanilla, followed by orange creamsicle, caramel corn, and mixed peppercorns. This sounds delicious. I'm just saying. As it sits for a few minutes, bright cedar emerges, followed by smoldering oak. That would be what barrel it's in, I would imagine. What are we going to taste on the palate? Sweet orange that has been slightly charred. Okay. Leather, interesting. And the floral vanilla from the nose come forward next and are followed by cardamom, cedar, and a hint of spicy nuts that recedes into sweet cinnamon. I'm 8 years old. Leave me alone. All right. Ooh. That was good pop. I'm getting that too. I'm getting that tomorrow based on your review. Okay, all right. It could still be terrible. It could be terrible, but we'll see. The finish, it says some dark chocolate taffy, think Tootsie Roll, I'm in, and then leather tobacco cedar emerges. The finish goes on for a very long time and sits prickling the back of your tongue and roof of your mouth. Okay. And they say, tasted with 3 drops of water, the cinnamon and black pepper get a boost, and the cedar becomes more prominent. The whiskey continues to prickle the back of the tongue and roof of your mouth, and moves onto your cheeks. I love a good cheek mover. You know what I mean? I don't know what I mean, but... It smells... Oh my God, just out of the bottle it smells delicious. All right. Let's give it the official smell. Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely vanilla. I don't know about orange creamsicle. There's like a little bit of like citrus in there. Definitely vanilla, though. That stands out the most. And then yeah, towards the end, like that cedar kind of smell from the barrel. Ooh. Wow. Okay. That is interesting in a good way. Okay. Wow. I really like that. That's good. Okay, so it's definitely sweet. I don't know about all the other stuff they were talking about, like leather and whatever. Definitely sweet, and I think you get more of like the aroma of the cedar and like that hint of like cinnamon. And I don't know if it was just in my head from the description, but like that caramely corn flavor kind of came across at first and then immediately evaporated. So I don't know if it's just like since they said it, I'm like, oh yeah, I taste that. I don't know if I really tasted that or not, but definitely the aroma of like vanilla and caramel and like sweetness with the finish of like cinnamon towards pepper. But it's good. It's pleasing. Them talking about it sticking around though, I mean, it's got the good classic bourbon burn that sits there in the back of your throat, but no like flavors are lingering or anything. I do want to taste it with a couple drops of water now though. Oh yeah, I could drink that neat all day. All day. I want to try it with a little bit of water and see how it changes, and what gets more pronounced. But that is delicious. Highly recommend. That one is called Stellum Bourbon, and it's the black label one. Looks like it's going for, and actually, it's not too bad. Right now, they have a sale on it for like $60. Looks like it normally retails for about $109, but the site I'm looking at, it looks like they're running some kind of promotions on it right now for about 45% off. So definitely snag that. That would be a fantastic deal. It is delicious. Cannot say enough good about that. And it's cask strength too, which usually sometimes those are like punch you in the mouth kind of strong, and like especially with certain flavors. This blends really, really well. I can't say really a bad thing about it. Yeah, super sweet up front, and then immediately kind of gets like peppery. Yeah, peppery, and that oaky flavor kind of towards the end. That's good. Delicious. Highly recommend. We've gotten lucky. The last like couple of Whiskey Wednesdays, we've had some really, really good ones. We have had one recently though that was not my cup of tea. And the one that I was so excited about, the Doc Holliday one that with like the cool 6-shooter top, that wasn't my favorite. Didn't really like that one. Cheek lingering. You know, you ask the important questions, Legends, and that's why I like you, my man. Yeah, cheek lingering. I don't know what the heck they mean by that. I don't have anything lingering in my cheeks that I know about right now. I guess like the burn sticks around for a little while, but that's not uncommon for most bourbons though. I don't know what they mean by like a squirrel. What does that even mean? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm assuming they mean that like you like whatever the feeling of that alcohol like imparts inside your mouth like sticks around, but more here than like towards the back. I guess I don't know. I have no idea what the hell that means. It is an interesting explanation, their description of what it's supposed to be. Cheek lingering. I don't know if I could describe anything else like that. PG-13 at least. Carrie, how's it going? It is going good. How are you doing? If you just showed up, you missed the reading of Whiskey Wednesday, but it's okay because this will go up on the Tubes of You, so you can watch the replay of this fantastic story by Legends Reforged, our very own Legends Reforged, returning to Whiskey Wednesday. One of my favorite authors that's been on here. I love your writing, sir. And he left us with a dirty, dirty, dirty ending that I highly recommend. If you missed it, Carrie, remind me. I'm going to put out the replay on the Tubes of You at 456. Tubes of You at 456. If you're following me there, watch this one. I'll leave like a little. I leave a little chapter so you can just skip to the actual reading of it. It's good. It's good, and he's gonna do you dirty by the time you get to the end. I'm just gonna forewarn you. I'm not gonna tell you why or how, but we felt the same way. That's all I'm gonna say. AI summary: unboxing and tasting a new Stellum bourbon. Holy crap! That is almost 100% accurate. Even the AI is on in this episode of Whiskey Wednesday. What is going on? I'm almost afraid of next Whiskey Wednesday. This is going too well. Fantastic story. Fantastic bourbon. And yeah, can't say enough. And you heard it here. Legend said that when he finishes it, he's going to make sure that we all get a copy so that we know how it ends, because he did us so dirty. Haven't been filtered as much. See, it's a good live stream. I'm saying it's too good. I'll have to take a look. Absolutely. And he actually started writing this one as a part of a contest that him and his writer group is doing, which is, I guess, and you have until November 1st, if I remember right, to get that all done. So we're expecting, I'm just saying, my birthday is November 7th. That would be a really cool birthday present. I'm just saying. It's like I rub it in, nice and, just lay it on thick, right? I have to take a look. Yes! Exactly, Nick. Exactly. Alrighty. So for next Whiskey Wednesday, I did look at it beforehand this time. Did I remember who's going to be next? Hell no. Why would I do that? That would mean I have a good memory. Here we go. All right. I already had it open. That's even better. Just here's the bad part. All right. Now I feel better. I feel more comfortable. There had to be some kind of mistakes here. All right. Who do we got up next? Next Whiskey Wednesday on... What is this going to be? Let me open up the calendar. That'll be the 8th of July, the next Whiskey Wednesday. We're going to have Jacob Clements with his story, The Fell of Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil. And from my very limited knowledge of the Norse language, that's Yggdrasil, I believe. And it's going to be an adult mythic fantasy. We got some Legends Reforged. You might want to tune into that one. It's going to be about legends, I'm assuming. Have I read it yet? Hell no. It could be not about that at all. I don't know. I'm just going off the name. Yeah. Oh, neat. That's fair. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. You're a rock star. No, you're a rock star. Thank you so much for being brave enough to send us a work in progress, which, by the way, immaculate. And I haven't put this out there to a lot of folks. I have been taking writing courses and stuff because I'm friggin' crazy. It's a World Cup rom-com. There we go. That totally makes sense. Legends nailed it. No, I've been doing some writing classes and stuff. I have this idea for a story that I would like to write. I tried it once before. I tried that whole writing thing, and there's a reason I'm a narrator. I'm not a writer. Just saying. That thing will never seen the light of day. But anyways, I've been thinking about taking the plunge again. And in the manuscript that Legends gave me, I have like all these comments off to the side when he went through and like was editing. And to see kind of the thought process behind some of these things, dude, it's legit. It's like all the things I look at when kind of narrating stuff too, like motivations behind ideas, what they really mean, like is he jaded here and loved it, dude. Like you sent it and you're like, should I clean it up for you? I'm like, hell no. Like the the amount of insight that I got just off of your editing notes was amazing. So that was really cool, actually. I don't think a lot of narrators get like the insider baseball like that. And that's really cool. It's kind of a cool perspective. And now that I've like started like some courses on how to actually write the right way, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, shit. I just read about it's like that concept. So it's cool like seeing it kind of in practice from somebody that can write really well. So what I'm trying to say is thank you for spinning your story. Thank you for letting me look in a little bit on your process. That's really, really cool. Bravo! Alicia, hello. It's nice to see you again. Can we know your idea? No. No, you can't. It's not even close to being... Like, I have, like, 8 different ways that I think the story could go. I don't even have it, like, super solid in my head, but I've been thinking about it non-friggin' stop. I cannot get it out of my head. And I think it's going to be really cool and really fun. So why not write it, right? I'll keep those in moving forward. They'll disappear when they get fixed, though. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. No, I actually really like that. That was really, really cool. Genre? I think even that gives it away a little bit. It's a combination of... Well, it'll be in a specific genre. Well, I'll just say that. Lit RPG. And I'll leave it there. And that doesn't give away shit. It's a cool idea, I think. It gets me excited. And that's the important part, right? I'm interested already. Yeah. Right. It's probably going to be the biggest piece of boop you've ever seen. But it'll be fun getting there. That's right. So, yeah, next Whiskey Wednesday, that'll be who's coming up, Jacob Clemens. Going forward throughout the rest of this week, I'll be continuing narrating The Sixth Judgment by Kurt Dyer. It's the 6th book in the main series, the 9th book overall that we've read of his series. Where we left off last is the second to last trumpet has sounded. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse have been beaten back a little bit, but the angelic human hybrid warriors have been defeated by the beast. So now our hero has to figure out how to stop or delay, if he can, the rest of Armageddon from happening. I don't know if he can. We will see. So I'll be reading that throughout the rest of the week. Probably a lot more of it this weekend. And then we have some military science fiction that we'll be reading too, but I'll kind of just sprinkle in there about some big stompy robots with lasers and missiles and cool stuff for that tabletop RPG lore that we've been working on as kind of a project. So I'll probably make some social media announcements about that stuff so you'll know when that's going on. And I'll probably try to be on every night if I can. So that's the game plan. Thanks, everybody, for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Fantastic story again, Legends. Please give us an update. And maybe we'll do another Whiskey Wednesday when it's all finished and at least get the rest of the story finished. Maybe. I don't know. If you want to. I don't know. I think you should turn this into an... I love the concept already. I don't know where you're going with it, but we at least need to know the end. Anyways, have a good night, everybody. I'll see you probably tomorrow. And if not, definitely by this weekend for more regular narration, and at least by next Wednesday for the next Whiskey Wednesday. Oh, one more thing. If you are a writer and you like to write short story horror fiction, shoot me a DM. Or if you know anybody that is a writer that likes to write short horror fiction or has, let me know. I've been thinking about starting up my Monday show called Macabre Mondays and featuring short horror fiction. It's one of my personal favorite genres. So just let me know. Anyways, good night, everybody. Have a good night. I'll see you next time.